Hollywood from 1910 to 1970, we often think of the bright lights, the glamour, and those dreamlike, beautiful faces on the silver screen. But behind that splendor, there are secrets that few could imagine. Those people adored by the whole world had to live in fear, simply because they carried in their hearts a love not accepted by society. First, let's turn back time to the golden age of Hollywood, when major studios like MGM, Warner Brothers, and Paramount dominated, producing classic films like Gone with the Wind or Casablanca. This was the era of shining stars, but also a time when homosexuality was seen as a sin, and a rumor could destroy a career forever. The studios imposed strict contracts, forcing actors to maintain a perfect heterosexual image, even arranging sham marriages. I feel a deep sadness when thinking about this. Those talented artists had to live in constant fear, hiding their true selves in exchange for fame. But it was those inner struggles that created the mysterious allure in their performances. Today, with all seriousness and respect, we will tell their stories, intertwined with feelings of regret and admiration, along with sensational details from real life. Let's start with Rudolph Valentino, born on May 6, 1895 in Castellaneta, Italy, and died on August 23, 1926 in New York. He immigrated to America in 1913, doing various jobs from waiter to taxi dancer before stepping into Hollywood. His breakthrough role was in The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse in 1921, turning him into a love symbol, with revenue over $1 million, a huge number at the time. He continued to shine in The Sheik in 1921 and Blood and Sand in 1922, known for the seductive Latin lover image. Valentino also published poetry in Daydreams in 1923 and founded his own film company in 1925. But his short career ended with The Son of the Sheik in 1926. Behind that were persistent rumors about his sexuality. His first marriage to actress Jean Acker ended on the wedding night, causing people to whisper. Then his second marriage to Natasha Rambova also quickly fell apart. Documents from the legacy of author Samuel Stewart suggest that they were once gay lovers. Valentino denied it, trying to prove his masculinity by participating in vigorous activities like boxing, but his feminine gestures still fueled the rumors. He passed away at age 31 from peritonitis. Next is Will Geer, born on March 9, 1902 in Frankfort, Indiana, and died on April 20, 1978. Geer began his career with traveling plays and riverboat shows in the 1920s, creating the role of Mr. in The Cradle Will Rock in 1937 and Candy in Of Mice and Men. He was active in radio like The Plot to Overthrow Christmas and appeared in over 12 films in the 1940s, 1950s, such as Winchester 73 and Broken Arrow. Blacklisted in 1950 for refusing to testify before the House Un-American Activities Committee. Geer founded the Will Geer Theatricum Botanicum in 1951 with his wife, Herta Ware. He became famous for the role of Grandpa Zebulon Walton in The Waltons from 1972 to 1978, winning an Emmy in 1975. Geer also recorded an album with Woody Guthrie in 1956. In the 1930s, Geer had a romantic relationship with gay rights activist Harry Hay. But then he chose the safe path, marrying actress Herta Ware, having children, and building a family. They divorced in 1954, but Geer remained honest with his wife about his sexual identity. He joined the Communist Party and fought for gay rights in secret groups. Geer died from respiratory failure. His story moves me deeply. This was a man who sacrificed personal love to protect his family and career, but still kept the flame of struggle burning. A silent hero. The combination of his acting and social activism is inspiring, even though he had to hide most of his life. Next is Liberace, born on May 16, 1919 in West Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and died on February 4, 1987. He was a talented pianist, starting to perform at age 4, studying after Ignacy John Paderewski. In the 1940s, he shifted from classical to pop classic, performing in Las Vegas from 1944, becoming the world's highest-paid entertainer in the 1950s, 1970s, with $300,000 per week. His TV show, The Liberace Show, in 1952, earned $7 million in the first 2 years. He appeared in films like Sincerely Yours in 1955 and guest starred in Batman in 1966, The Muppet Show in 1978. Liberace won 2 Emmys, 6 gold albums, and 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He hid his sexuality with fabricated stories about loves with women. In articles, he talked about the ideal woman, but in reality, he had relationships with men, notably Scott Thorson, who later sued him for palimony in 1982. Rumors spread, but Liberace remained silent until his death from AIDS complications. I feel pity. He lived in loneliness amid the glamour, and his death helped raise awareness about AIDS, a dark secret, full of emotion, making us reflect on the discrimination of that society and how he used his talent to cover his inner pain. Sir John Gielgud, born on April 14, 1904 in South Kensington, London, and died on May 21, 2000, with a career spanning 8 decades. He studied at RADA, famous for Hamlet at the Old Vic in 1929 to 1931, considered the peak of Shakespearean acting. He won a special Tony in 1959 for The Ages of Man and a Grammy in 1979 for recordings. In films, he won an Oscar for Arthur in 1981 and was nominated for Beckett in 1964, appearing in over 60 films like Elizabeth in 1998. Gielgud was arrested in 1953 for indecent behavior, a charge often used to suppress gay men, but overcame the scandal to become a legend. His sexuality was an open secret in the arts world. I admire his inner strength, a lesson in resilience amid mystery and prejudice, and how he turned adversity into motivation to conquer the stage and screen. Cesar Romero, born on February 15, 1907 in New York City, and died on January 1, 1994, famous for the Joker in Batman in the 1960s. He started on Broadway in 1929 with The Street Singer, playing Latin lovers in films like The Devil is a Woman in 1935 and Cisco Kid in 6 westerns in 1939 to 1941. He appeared in Captain from Castile in 1947 and TV like Alias Smith and Jones in the 1970s. Romero has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He was seen as the typical Latin lover, but never married. Rumors about his sexuality circulated, though he was linked to many female stars. Romero kept it secret until his death from cancer. His silence created a mysterious shell, making me curious about the hidden pains behind that suave smile and how he maintained a perfect image in a gossipy industry. Then comes Raymond Burr, born on May 21, 1917 in New Westminster, Canada, and died on September 12, 1993, famous for Perry Mason in the series 1957 to 1966, winning 2 Emmys. He started on stage in 1934, Broadway in 1940, and films like Rear Window in 1954, Godzilla in 1956. Burr played Ironside in 1967 to 1975, nominated for 6 Emmys. He fabricated stories of wife and children to hide, but his 35-year love with Robert Benavides only revealed after death from kidney cancer. He briefly married Isabella Ward in 1948, whom he met at Pasadena Playhouse. I feel sad for the necessary lies to protect his career, but that true love is proof of the heart's strength. In an era where truth could destroy everything, Tony Randall, born on February 26, 1920 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and died on May 17, 2004, famous for Felix Unger in The Odd Couple, 1970 to 1975, nominated for many Emmys, winning in 1975. He studied at Neighborhood Playhouse, debuted on Broadway in 1947, role of E.A.K. Hornbeck in Inherit the Wind in 1955. Randall founded the National Actors Theater in 1991. He was married for 50 years to his first wife, Florence, then married young Heather and had children after she passed away. But his feminine gestures and rumors still followed him. A sensational story. Was he hiding to protect his image? The surprise in upon his second marriage made many question, but his humorous legacy lives on. James Mitchell, born on February 29, 1920 in Sacramento, and died on January 22, 2010, famous for Palmer Courtland in All My Children, 1979 to 2010. He was a leading dancer for Agnes DeMille from 1944 in Bloomer Girl and Broadway, like Carousel. Films like The Bandwagon in 1953, TV like The Edge of Night in 1964. Mitchell lived 39 years with costume designer Albert Wolski, but kept it private from the public. That long love moves me, a ray of light in Hollywood's darkness, where he smoothly transitioned from dancing to soap opera acting. Montgomery Clift, born on October 17, 1920 in Omaha, and died on July 23, 1966, debuted on Broadway in 1935, film Red River in 1948, Oscar nominated for The Search. Roles in A Place in the Sun in 1951, From Here to Eternity in 1953. Car accident in 1956 led to addiction, happening after a party at Elizabeth Taylor's house, when he crashed into a pole. Close friend Elizabeth Taylor knew well about his sexuality, and he had relationships with both men and women. Clift's tragedy is full of emotion, a talented star destroyed by himself and societal pressure, making him do only 9 more films after the accident. George Nader, born on October 19, 1921 in Pasadena, and died on February 4, 2002, won Golden Globe in 1954 for Four Guns to the Border. Films like Robot Monster in 1953, series The Man and the Challenge, 1959 to 1960. Rumors about sexuality declined his career, so he withdrew to live with Mark Miller for 55 years. Close friend Rock Hudson also contributed to the rumors. A brave decision, full of mystery, as he switched to writing books instead of acting. Merv Griffin, born on July 6, 1925 in San Mateo, and died on August 12, 2007, created Jeopardy in 1964, Wheel of Fortune in 1975. Hosted The Merv Griffin Show, 1962 to 1986, winning 11 Emmys. He hid through lawsuits, had relationships with both men and women. Griffin sold his empire to Columbia Pictures in 1986 for $250 million. His legacy surpasses The Secret's, but the story still makes us curious about the one unfading scandal. Rock Hudson, born on November 17, 1925 in Winnetka, and died on October 2, 1985, star with Magnificent Obsession in 1954, Oscar nominated for Giant in 1956, Convenient Marriage to Cover Up, publicized when AIDS in 1984. His death changed perceptions of the epidemic and the LGBTQ+ community, becoming the first celebrity to die from AIDS in America. A sensational story full of emotion and tragedy, as he used his status to raise awareness. Kerwin Matthews, born on January 8, 1926 in Seattle, and died on July 5, 2007, famous for The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad in 1958. Films like The Three Worlds of Gulliver in 1960, lived openly with Tom Nicole for 46 years in San Francisco after leaving Hollywood in 1978. He opened a clothing and antique store, loved art. That choice of freedom makes me admire him, in a city more friendly to the LGBTQ+ community. Paul Lynde, born on June 13, 1926 in Mount Vernon, and died on January 10, 1982, Center Square on Hollywood Squares 1966 to 1981. Role of Uncle Arthur in Bewitched from 1965, Golden Globe nominated for The Paul Lynde Show in 1972. He hid to protect his career, but alcoholism from pressure led to many arrests for public intoxication. Lynde died from a heart attack. His humorous talent lives on, though The Secret was full of pain and personal tragedy. Jack Cassidy, born on March 5, 1927 in New York, and died on December 12, 1976, won Tony in 1964 for She Loves Me. Roles in Columbo, 1971 to 1976, married Shirley Jones, rumored bisexual. He had relationships with both men and women, leading to alcoholism. Cassidy died in a fire at his West Hollywood apartment. a tragic death full of mystery. After success on Broadway, Charles Gray, born on August 29, 1928, in Bournemouth, and died on March 7, 2000, role of Blofeld in Diamonds Are Forever in 1971, criminologist in The Rocky Horror Picture Show in 1975. He played both heroes and villains in James Bond, like Henderson in You Only Live Twice in 1967. Gray kept his sexuality private until death. That discretion created a mysterious layer in a diverse career from horror to spy films. George Maharis, born on September 1, 1928 in Astoria, and died on May 24, 2023. Buzz in Route 66, 1960 to 1963, Emmy-nominated in 1962, arrested in 1967 for homosexual conduct, career shattered. He continued films but never fully recovered. That scandal is proof of society's cruelty, making him live more privately afterward. Roddy McDowall, born on September 17, 1928 in London, and died on October 3, 1998, role of Hugh in How Green Was My Valley in 1941, Cornelius in Planet of the Apes in 1968. Won Tony in 1960, Emmy in 1961. He started as a child star, transitioned to intelligent ape roles. McDowall never married, friends in the LGBTQ+ community. Had relationship with Montgomery Clift, a kind man full of secrets, died from lung cancer. Nigel Hawthorne, born on April 5, 1929 in Coventry, and died on December 26, 2001, Sir Humphrey in Yes Minister 1980 to 1988, winning 4 BAFTAs. Role of King George III in The Madness of King George in 1994, Oscar nominated. He lived with Trevor Bentham for 20 years. Came out late after British press revealed in 1995. That late courage is admirable. In a career from comedy to tragedy. James Coco, born on March 21, 1930 in New York, and died on February 25, 1987, Oscar nominated for Only When I Laugh in 1981, won Emmy in 1983, roles in Man of La Mancha in 1972, The Muppets Take Manhattan in 1984. He hid until death from heart attack, possibly AIDS-related. His humorous talent makes us smile, though his life was short. Finally, Dick Sargent, born on April 19, 1930 in Carmel, and died on July 8, 1994, Darren in Bewitched, 1969 to 1972. He came out in 1991, became an AIDS activist, Grand Marshal at Pride Parade with Elizabeth Montgomery in 1992. Sargent died from prostate cancer, a true trailblazer, bravely facing prejudice. From a personal perspective, these stories make me feel sad but also full of hope. They lived in Hollywood, mainly Los Angeles, from the 1920s to the 1990s, where prejudice reigned, but their legacy is a lesson in acceptance. Today, society has changed, thanks in part to them. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe to discover more historical secrets. We'll meet again in the next video.